So I don't know if this has ever happened to you before, but when sometimes when I draft an email, I get to the end and realize, oh, what I said at the end is actually what I should say at the beginning. And that happened to me in this case. So apologies, it's a bit disjointed, but we're going to have essentially two blocks of videos. One of them is the latter part is going to be what I originally intended to say and how I originally intended to flow my ideas. And the former is going to, unfortunately for my comfort levels and probably for others, be a little bit more direct and be a little bit more specifically directed at the Four Cs ministers as distinct from Four Cs leadership. So when I think about how to uh, engage with this broader audience, I think it's important to acknowledge that I understand that for the vast majority of Four Cs ministers, it's a relatively small church, a relatively tight budget. Time is even tighter. You have to handle all of the details of how everything works, from, of course, the preaching down to cleaning the toilets in many cases, and managing contractors and helping manage volunteers, and maybe you'll have a part-time staff member to help out, right? So that's my understanding, is that's the world that the vast majority of you are in. And I think it's important to draw a contrast with, you absolutely deserve significant support and deserve a conference or denominational structure of some kind that helps encourage you in your leadership to be better, to provide frameworks and connection and meaning in what is a hectic world and can be very challenging space of ministry and thankless space of ministry. And at its best, the Four Cs does that. And on paper, that's what the Four Cs professes to do. And so, unfortunately, for the next few emails, I'm going to make a significant claim that while it may seem, based on email communications, based on organized, curated experiences, and perhaps even based on a few idiosyncratic cases of, stepping in to promote church multiplication and healthy churches and other elements of what the Four Cs aspires to do. Unfortunately, when the cards are down and it's extraordinarily complex and it's going to take a lot of time, the Four Cs is actually not there or does not invest in the bandwidth to really be there for you. And the example of my church, and hundreds of people at our church, is a key lesson and a key canary in the coal mine for the health of the Four Cs more broadly. So I wanted to talk a little bit more directly about those details, and that will come later. But we're going to spend some time highlighting the disconnect between what is said and what is done. And I would like us all to consider a little bit where I want to affirm, you work extremely hard. You have to handle a lot of details at a very granular level to get it right, day in and day out, week in and week out. And for the vast majority of you, you're not compensated as well as you should be for the work that you do. And for the vast majority of you, you have a higher number of priorities in your community that you would like to resource and fund or partner with others in, whether it's financially or with your time or otherwise. And so I would challenge you to consider and hold the Four Cs accountable to truly take the resources that you contribute to them, and again, the leadership, and use them as effectively, hopefully more effectively, than you can, because the tithes and offerings from your congregants deserve to go towards the greatest kingdom impact. And it's an extremely high bar to say that you can have a greater impact at a corporate level than it is to say people boots on the ground ministering, ministering to people, or in your, or perhaps giving financially through your own missions committees. So it's a very serious matter to contribute to the Four Cs, which I know you all are aware of that, and I think possibly should be made more aware of the disconnect in what is said and what is done. So we're going to walk through that a little bit more in the coming videos. Appreciate your time and consideration.